of naughtiness. And if you do not want your children to read that type of stuff, do not give them this. You guys can watch the movie. The movie is safe. And let's get into it. I'm so excited to finish. Oh, yes. Very excited, very excited. So, the picture I showed you last time, this is what I'm about to read right now. So, the silver chain was now nothing but smoke and vapor, for the heartbeat, it hung on the air. Then a sharp gust of wind and rain blew it out into nothing at all. There sat the woman with the dark curling hair, stretching like a cat and smiling. The terms of my servitude are fulfilled, and now you and I are done with each other. The old woman looked at her helplessly. But what shall I do? I'm old. I cannot manage this stall by myself. You are an evil, foolish slattern. So to desert me like this, your problems are no concern to me, said the former slave. But I shall never again be called a lantern or a slave or anything else that is not my own name. I'm a Lady Una, firstborn and only daughter of an 81st Lord of Stormhold, and the spells and terms you bound me with are over and done. Now you will apologize to me, and you will call me by my right name, or I will with enormous pleasure devote the rest of my life to hunting you down and destroying everything that you care for and everything that you are. They looked at each other then, and it was the old woman who looked away first. Then I must apologize for having called you a slattern, Lady Una, she said, as if each word of it were bitter sawdust that she spat from her mouth. Lady Una nodded. Good, I believe that you owe me payment for my services. Now my time with you is done, she said. For these things have their rules, and things have rules. The rain was still falling in gusts, and then not falling for just enough of lure people out there from the underneath their makeshift shelters, and then raining on them once more. Tristan and Yvain sat damp and happy beside the campfire in a company of motley assortment of creatures and people. Tristan had asked if any of them knew a little hairy man he had met upon the travels, and he described him as well as he could. Several people acknowledged that they had met him in the past, although none had seen him at this market. He found his hands twining almost in their own volition into the star's wet hair. He wondered how it could have taken him so long to realize how much he cared for her, and he told her so. And she called him an idiot, and he declared that it was the finest thing that ever man had been called. So where are we going once the market is done? Tristan asked the star. I don't know, she said, but I have one obligation still to discharge. You do? Yes, she said. The thing I showed you, I have to give it to the right person. The last time the right person came along, that innkeeper woman cut his throat, so I have it still, but I wish it were gone. A woman's voice at his shoulder said, Ask her what she carries, Tristan Thorn. He turned and stared into her eyes of color and meadow violets. You were the bird in the witch's caravan, he told the woman. When you are a dormouse, my son, said the woman. I was, but now I have my own form again, and my time of servitude is over. As to Yvain for what she carries, you have the right. He turned back to the star. Yvain, she nodded, waiting. Yvain, will you give me what you're carrying? She looked puzzled. Then she reached inside her robe, fumbled discreetly, and produced the large topaz stone on a broken silver chain. It was your grandfather's, said the woman. You are the last male of the line of Stormhold. Put it about your neck. Tristan did so. As he touched the ends of the silver chain together, they knit and mended as if they had never It's very nice, said Tristan, dubiously. It is a power of Stormhold, said his mother. There's no one can argue with that. You are of the blood, and all your uncles are dead and gone. You will make a fine Lord of Stormhold. Tristan stared at her in honest puzzlement. But I have no wish to be lord of anywhere, he told her, or of anything except perhaps my lady's heart. And he took the star's hand in his, and he pressed it to his breast and smiled. The woman flickered her ears impatiently, and in almost 18 years, Tristan Thorn, I have not demanded one single thing of you. And now the first simple little request that I make, the tiniest favor that I ask of you, you say me no. Now I ask you, Tristan, is that any way to treat your mother? No, mother, said Tristan. Well, she continued, slightly mollified, and I think it will do you young people good to have a home of your own, and for you to have an occupation. And if it does not suit you, you may leave, There's no silver chain that will be holding you to the throne of Stormhold. And Tristan found his quite as reassuring. Yvain was less impressed with it, for she knew that silver chains come in all shapes and sizes. But she knew also that it would not be wise to begin her life with Tristan by arguing with his mother. I have the honor of knowing what you are called, asked Yvain, wondering if she was laying it on a bit thickly. Tristan's mother preened, and Yvain knew that she was not. I'm Lady Una of Stormhold, she said. Then she reached into a small bag which hung from her side and produced a rose made out of glass, of a red so dark that it was almost black in the flickering firelight. It was my payment, she asked, for more than 60 years of servitude. It galled her to give it to me. But rules are rules, and she would have lost her magic, and more if she had not given it to me. Now I plan to barter it for a palanquin to take us back to the Stormhold. We must arrive in style. Oh, I have missed the Stormhold so badly. We must have bearers and outriders, and perhaps an elephant. They are so imposing. Nothing says, get out of the way, quite like an elephant in the front. No, said Tristan. No, said his mother. No, repeated Tristan. You may travel by palanquin, an elephant, and camel, and all that if you wish to, mother. But Yvain and I will make our own way to travel at our own speed. The Lady Una took a deep breath, and Yvain decided that his argument was one of that she would rather be somewhere else for. So she stood up and told them that she would be back soon, and that she needed to walk and not to go wandering too far. Tristan looked at her pleading eyes, but Yvain shook her head. This was his fight to win, and he would fight it better if she were not there. She limped through the darkening market, pausing beside a tent from which music and applause could be heard, and from which the light spilled like liquid gold. She listened to the music, and she thought her own thoughts. It was there that a bent, white-haired old woman, glookless blind in one eye, hobbled over to the star and bade her to stop a while and talk about what? Asked the star. The old woman, shrunk by age and time a little bigger than a child, held onto a stick as tall as and bent as herself, with a palsied and swollen knuckle hands. She stared up at the star with her good eye and her blue milk eye, and she said, I came to fetch your heart back with me. Is that so? Asked the star. Aye, said the old woman. I nearly had it at that up and mountain pass. She crackled at the back of her throat at that memory. Do you remember? She had a large pact on her back that sat like a hump, a spiral ivory horn produced from the pack, and Yvain knew where she had seen the horn before. That was you, asked the star to the tiny woman. You with the knives? That was me. But I squared away all the youth I took for the journey. Every act of magic lost me a little of youth I wore, and now I'm older than I have ever been. If you touch me, said the star, lay but a finger on me, you will regret it forevermore. If you ever get to be my age, said the old woman, you will know all there is to know about regrets, and you will know that one more here to or there will make no difference in the long run. She snuffled the air. Her dress had once been red, but it seemed to have been much patched and taken up and faded over the years. It hung down from their shoulders, exposing a puckered scar that might have been many hundreds of years old. So what I want to know is, why is it that I can no longer find you in my mind? You are still there, just but there like a ghost, a will-o'-the-wisp. Not long ago you burned, your heart burned in my mind like silver fire, but after that night in the inn it became patchy and dim, and now it's not there at all. Yvain released that she felt nothing but pity for the creature who had wanted her dead, or so she said. Could it be that her heart that you seek is no longer my own? The old woman coughed. Her whole frame shook in spasms with the wrenching effort of it. Star waited for her to be done, and then she said, I have given my heart to another. The boy, the one in the inn with the unicorn? Yes, you should have let me take it back then. For my sisters and me, we could have been young again, well into the next age of the world. Your boy will break it, or waste it, or lose it. They all do. Nonetheless, said the star, he has my heart. I hope that your sisters will not be too hard on you when you return to them without it. It was then that Tristan walked across to Yvain and took her hand and nodded politely to the old woman. All sorted out, he said. Nothing to worry about. And the palanquin, oh, mother will be traveling by palanquin. I had to promise that we'd get to Stormhold sooner or later, but we can take our time on the way. I think we should buy a couple of horses and see the sights. And you, mother, acceded to this. In the end, he said blithely, anyway, sorry to interrupt. We are almost done, said Yvain. She turned back to the little old woman. My sister will be harsh but cruel, and the old witch queen. However, I appreciate the sentiment. You have a good heart, child. A pity it will not be mine. The star leaned down and kissed the old woman on her wizened cheek, feeling the rough hairs on the scrape of her soft lips. Then the star and her true love walked away toward the wall. Who was the old biddy? Asked Tristan. She seemed a bit familiar. Was anything wrong? Nothing was wrong, she told him. She was just someone I knew from the road. Behind them were the lights of the market, and the lanterns and candles and witch lights and fairy glitter, like a dream of the night sky brought down to earth. In front of them, across the meadow, on the other side of the gap in the wall, now guarded this was the town of Wall. Oil lamps and gas lamps and candles glowed in the windows of the houses and of the villages of the village. To Tristan then they seemed as distant, as unknowable as the world of the Arabian Nights. He looked upon the lights of Wall for what it came to him then with a certainty he knew was the last time. He stared at them for some time and said nothing, the fallen star by his side, and then he turned away, and together they began to walk toward the east. And that's the end of the chapter. It's the end. I will be back with the epilogue, and I don't know. The epilogue is really short. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share, comment, follow me on Instagram, hit the bell for notifications, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye, guys.